peace in the community.
And right now at 7 o'clock, a big contrast in Baltimore, where the protesters today have been mostly calm and peaceful after yesterday's violent riots. You're looking at a scene in Baltimore City right now where people are milling around and in a mood that is far different from what we saw just 24 hours ago. The police presence is a lot stronger and a lot more numerous, but perhaps a lot less needed. Thanks for joining us. I'm Derek McGinty.
And I'm Jan Jeffcoat. 3 hours away right now from when that curfew was supposed to be enforced there in Baltimore. And we just learned 25 minutes ago that Baltimore City schools will be open tomorrow. They were closed today. It is the latest sign the heated situation is cooling off.
Our Bruce Johnson's been in those streets all day long, and he joins us now from Baltimore live, where I understand, Bruce, you just talked to the former mayor and possible presidential candidate, Martin O'Malley.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at North in Pennsylvania. This was ground zero some 24 hours ago, and what a difference a day makes out here. It's calm. It's almost taken on a festive atmosphere. Over here to my right is a group called 300 Men. They're out here as part of a very large contingency to keep the peace. They're going to be out here at least until 10 o'clock. Coming up behind us, Kurt, go all the way around, do a 360 here. You've got another group parading up North and Pennsylvania Avenue. And also over to the left, you got groups. We talked to Martin O'Malley a short time ago, as you know, former mayor of Baltimore, former governor, says he's going to decide sometime next month whether or not to run for president. He should know an awful lot about the situation between the community and police. Here's what he had to say.
We got to work it every day. Look, we're a safer city now than we were 15 years ago, but we still got a lot of work to do. This is not something that's solved in any one day. It's something that involves a lot of work, a lot of good people, more drug treatment, intervening in the lives of young kids, doing a better job of policing our own police as we police our corners. And it's something we have to do together.
Now, we should point out that the former mayor, the former governor, also gets some criticism in these parts because it was his zero-tolerance policies that caused an awful lot of these people to end up with police records. A lot of them say they were arrested unfairly when the mayor was here, and police had a lot more leeway as to who to stop, who to arrest. So he was here for a short time, wasn't here very long, but kind of mixed feelings out here for Martin O'Malley. Going to throw it back to you.
All right, Bruce, and we also know Martin O'Malley was the one who put cameras on the street to allow the police to watch what was going on at the time. There was some criticism regarding that as well. All right, roughly 24 hours after those rioters were roaming the Baltimore streets tearing things down, a lot of volunteers hit those same streets today trying to clean up the mess.
Our Scott Broom spoke with some of the residents helping put that city back together. Quite a remarkable scene earlier today when folks just came out, Scott, without any organization really, just coming out to help.
Yeah, it was spontaneous. It was remarkable and very, very heartfelt. Let me get you up to date what's going on right now. I'm at Mondawmin Mall. That is one of the sites where there was rioting and looting at about this hour yesterday. And behind me, a good look at the National Guard presence. Here's the good news. At this time, they're pretty much resting easy. There's nothing to respond to. Projecting power with their assault weapons, but that is making for peace on the streets this evening. And it has been quite a day here in Baltimore as people try to take their own streets back. The morning brings smoldering ruins, destroyed businesses, a state of emergency, and brooms. Uncounted hundreds of people, some organized by churches, many simply showing up without direction, aiming to defy the looters simply by showing up and cleaning up.
I'm here to pick up the pieces where a lot of people have failed.
No school today. This group of teachers took to the streets to find kids to talk to.
We're just making ourselves visible.
But the contrast with rifle-carrying Maryland National Guardsmen was stark, here guarding the Western District Police Station.
It's a little disturbing that we had to go this far.
Police escorted firefighters everywhere here on the west side to put down a blaze that rekindled from overnight.
Y'all keep beating us up. Y'all keep locking us up.
Baltimore's mayor answering critics today, asking why a state of emergency was not declared until 5 hours after the unrest began.
We weren't sitting around. We were engaged and working and managing the crisis.
And now that crisis is calm. As you just reported a short time ago, schools scheduled to open tomorrow, but still, National Guardsmen on the street, and for the first time in many years, perhaps decades, a curfew tonight beginning 3 hours from now. at 10 o'clock. Reporting live at the Mondawmin Mall in Baltimore, Scott Broom, WUSA9.
You know, Scott, we heard from the police commissioner earlier today, and he said the reason why the police were retreating and the reason why we didn't see some of the aggressiveness that some people were thinking that we would see is because these were 13, 14, and 15-year-old kids is what he called them, and they didn't want to use any kind of police force. Do we know tonight if they're prepared to use that if there is some troublemakers on the street?
No, this is clearly a show of force, and this is the National Guard that's been called in by the governor. You see them behind me. They have assault weapons with them. We saw scenes in Ferguson of weapons being pointed at people and that exacerbating the situation. That hasn't happened today here in Baltimore. It's hopefully not expected to happen. I spoke to the mayor about the issue you're talking about today. We didn't see weapons drawn by police last night, and I want to remind you that 17 of them were injured, a couple of them pretty badly. The mayor believes they were acting with restraint. They were not attacking and moving forward because they didn't want to create more violence and perhaps draw more people to the fight. I think that was part of the strategy last night.
It's Scott Broom for us live in Baltimore. Thank you very much. And this video from yesterday's protests has a lot of people calling this woman Mother of the Year. Toya Graham says she saw her son on live TV throwing rocks at police and she would have none of it. You can see her slap her son over and over. She's boiling hot angry and she screams and chases him away from the scene. Well, today Graham spoke exclusively to CBS about why she reacted this way.
And he gave me eye contact. And at that point, you know, not even thinking about cameras or anything like that, that's my only son. And at the end of the day, I don't want him to be a Freddie Gray.
Well, Mrs. Graham's going to be live on CBS This Morning tomorrow. You can watch her interview right here on WUSA9. And she's got a huge fan following right now on Facebook and on Twitter. I mean, Mama of the Year. A lot of folks are praising her for doing this and getting her son off the streets, which is exactly what police asked for yesterday. Get your kids home.
Yep.
So in Baltimore County, something of a success story tonight is rumored unrest at Security Square Mall never materialized.
Our Garrett Hake shows us how police and activists were able to urge some would-be troublemakers to go home.
What was a crowd of dozens of people on this sidewalk has now dwindled down to nothing, and that's a huge victory for the anti-violence advocates who were out here today trying to make sure that no one crossed the street behind me to tangle with police and that nobody got hurt.
And dear Lord, we will forever give your name the praise because of who you are.
Across the street from Security Square Mall, church leaders and gang leaders united with a common purpose: prevent any further violence on their streets.
We work too hard to build this community to let anyone tear it down.
Police masked and businesses here closed and boarded up their windows today amid rumors that Security Square Mall would be the next target of pop-up riots. But the would-be rioters never materialized in sufficient numbers. Those who did show up ready to cause trouble were talked down by an unlikely neighborhood alliance, including gang members like Orlando Magic Gilliard of the Bloods.
I understand the police's aspect of things, you know, but we don't really need them. We could do this ourselves. We could do this. We could police them ourselves.
To protect your own community.
Protect our own community.
As quickly as people gathered, a pastor, a gang member, or a community leader would speak up and take the air out of any possible violence.
You gotta grow up in this. Tell your little homies, man, we don't need this, man. You're not gonna be able to go get your shoes. I can't even go get my medicine.
And there was a bit of that economic message out here today, basically folks saying that these are our stores and this is our community, and to loot or destroy would only be hurting ourselves, and that message helped win the day out here. In Baltimore, Garrett Hake, WUSA9.
And there were some social media-fueled rumors of several other so-called purges or flash riots at area malls, but none of them saw any violence today either. Well, Governor Larry Hogan held a news conference just a short time ago, and he announced that for the time being, he is moving his governor's office to the city of Baltimore.
We've been here all day, and we will continue to be here until the threat of violence ends. Our primary mission, again, is to maintain order and to begin to repair the damage inflicted by the violence and looting from last night.
The governor went on to say 2,000 National Guard troops and 1,000 law officers will be deployed all across Baltimore tonight to help keep the peace. Hogan said authorities are standing ready to arrest anyone who violates that curfew. And as we mentioned, it takes effect at 10 o'clock tonight. And we're going to keep on following the action in Baltimore all night long, and you can get breaking news alerts through your WUSA9 News app.
Well, because of any possible violence near Camden Yards, Orioles fans are going to have to wait until next week before going to another game. The team postponed today's game, and they're going to play tomorrow against the White Sox with no one inside the stadium. That is a first in MLB history, as you can imagine. So the game's closed to the public. It will be broadcast on television. Plus, the next 3 home games against the Rays will actually be played in St. Petersburg. The O's will still be the home team. If you have tickets to any of these games, you can check out the WUSA9 app for information on how to get new tickets. And the Ravens have had to nix their own event tonight. Today, the team said out of respect for the curfew that it's canceling tonight's draft party at M&T Bank Stadium. It was supposed to go until 11 tonight, which is an hour past curfew. Ticket holders should get an automatic refund.
Same-sex marriage. Is it a constitutional right? After historic arguments, the Supreme Court now likely just 2 months away from deciding.
A beautiful evening, a beautiful day, but with that and the breezes comes a very high pollen count. Again, pine and oak are the main culprits. High for trees, low for grasses, low for mold spores. We'll come back. We'll talk about whether or not we can keep it going tomorrow, and we had to issue a yellow alert on Thursday. We'll tell you why.
And continuing our coverage out of Baltimore right now, here's a look at some protesters marching in the streets. Looks really more like a parade if you're there on the ground, where residents clearly trying to heal. More people are in a celebratory mood, much calmer, a different picture than what we saw yesterday. And we are now less than 3 hours away from that mandated 10 p.m. curfew.
Well, a decision on whether there is a constitutional right to same-sex marriage is likely to come from the Supreme Court within the next couple of months after some historic arguments on that issue today.
I'm Bruce LeShan at the Supreme Court. Justice Anthony Kennedy, once again, the likely swing vote. It is Kennedy who will likely decide whether same-sex couples have a constitutional right to marry. And he had tough questions for both sides.
Huge divisions outside the court, but polls suggest American public opinion has shifted dramatically in favor of same-sex marriage, and it is now legal in 37 states and the District of Columbia. The Supreme Court is considering appeals from 4 states that still do not recognize it.
It's a validation of our marriage. We promise to take care of each other.
Ipe Deco is an Army sergeant who married his husband in New York before the Army transferred him to a base in Tennessee.
We are married on the base, we step off the base, we are single, legal strangers.
John Bursch argued the case for the states resisting same-sex marriage.
That it's not the job of the federal courts, 9 people, to step in and decide for the whole country what something as important as marriage is.
Mary Bonato argued the case for the same-sex couples.
The Constitution promises equal protection and due process and liberty to all right now. It's not a popularity contest.
At the Supreme Court, Bruce LeShan, WUSA9.
Now, Justice Alito, a known conservative, wanted to know if they would also have to let, say, 4 people enter a polygamous marriage. And Justice Alito, another conservative, asked if religious organizations would have to provide housing for the gay couples. But liberal Justice Breyer called marriage a fundamental liberty.
The Potomac River looks serene today, but it could be flowing a bit faster later this week. Tenacious Topper's tracking a nor'easter and how much rain it's going to bring.
I'm Stephanie Ramirez at the National Zoo, where we're learning the complications behind pregnancy are not exclusive to humans. I'll have more coming up.
Always watching, always tracking. WUSA9's First Alert Weather. DC's most accurate.
Sure, it looks nice now, but there's a yellow alert on the way.
Oh, wow. We had to issue one for Thursday. We have not yet for Friday, which is a good sign. Friday, we may be able to pull Friday and salvage Friday. Let's talk about something that you can see tonight if you look to the west, the moon and Jupiter. It's actually going to be pretty perfect tonight about 11 o'clock, so check that out. Live look outside. It's our live Michael and Son weather cam. Temperature still 70. Winds are north-northwest at 13. They will die down tonight, really. We're looking at a fantastic evening and a very nice night. So pleasant tonight, temperatures about average. Bus stop temperatures 42 to about 58. And again, that's 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So a light jacket, probably a good idea early on. Yes, as Derek mentioned, a nor'easter. Thursday, that has prompted a yellow alert. And then cool and wet Thursday and Friday, but now Friday may not be a complete washout. So we may be able to do some things outdoors on Friday. 10 o'clock tonight, we're in the 50s with clear skies, low 60s downtown. On the Futurecast, by 6 o'clock, we're in the 40s in the suburbs, which is about where we should be this time of year, really. And by 9 o'clock, we're back to 60 downtown with upper 50s in the suburbs. And lunchtime, perfection? I don't know. Low 70s downtown, low 70s in La Plata, 70 in Culpeper, 69 in Leesburg, and 70 in Frederick. That's a pretty good deal. Now, by this time tomorrow night, some clouds began to work their way up from the south. That would be from the nor'easter and also from the west with a different system. I think all the showers tomorrow will stay out in the mountains and west of I-81. But we're going to advance this now through Thursday morning, through Thursday afternoon. Get about 3:30. Now we see some rain and showers in the metro area, and that's why we have issued a yellow alert for Thursday. I think the morning commute on Thursday may be rain-free. The ride going home will be wet on Thursday. So tonight, no worries. Clear to partly cloudy and cool, 42 to 52. Winds will calm down northwest at about 5 to 10. Gorgeous in the morning, mostly sunny and pleasant, 42 to 66. And by afternoon, a gorgeous day, mostly sunny, pleasant. Some clouds come in late, maybe a sprinkle west, but primarily west of I-81. Highs between 70 and 75. Okay, day planner. 52 to start, sunshine, 60 by 9 o'clock, mid-60s by 11, and low 70s with mostly sunny skies by 1 o'clock. So there's a yellow alert for Thursday, 64 with rain and showers. More showers and chilly on Friday, 59. But if things pan out, this 59 could be in the low 60s, and we may not have to issue a yellow alert. Next 7 days. Weekend, we do have a drop here, but keep your outdoor plans. Upper 60s Saturday, low 70s on Sunday. And check this out. Nat's in town next week. Monday, we're in the upper 70s, and Tuesday, we're in the low 80s. That's more like it.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm calling May weather.
That's right.
Okay. Well, this is certainly not something you hear so much about, a discussion between sex and bears.
Stephanie Ramirez tells us scientists artificially inseminated Meijan, the zoo's giant female panda.
I'm Stephanie Ramirez at the National Zoo, where we're learning the complications behind pregnancy are not exclusive to humans.
And scientists are hoping for this again. They artificially inseminated Meijan on Sunday and Monday with the sperm of Bao Bao's dad and, for the first time, a male panda from China. Scientists are hoping to expand the endangered species' genetic population, and they have to use artificial insemination because the pandas here have issues breeding on their own.
Our female will lie down on the ground so the male can't quite get to her, and then he can't really figure out how to lift her up and get her in the right position. There is difficulty in breeding pandas, and one theory is that in the wild they might actually get to observe breeding because there's a lot of other pandas around.
And to make it even more difficult, zoo biologist Lori Thompson says female pandas are only technically in the mood around 2 days a year. So on days when the U.S. and China military relations are tense, both countries are cooperating on this breeding program.
It's really cool they can do that. I think it's great. I do. I'm happy that there's an international effort.
Thompson says there's no test to tell if this works. The only thing they can do, she says, is look for nesting and monitor hormones.
Any advice as a mom?
Hang in there.
Here at the National Zoo, Stephanie Ramirez, WUSA9 News.
Well, scientists say that giant panda pregnancies generally last between 3 and 6 months. You can follow Meijan's progress online. We've got the link on the WUSA9 News app, and we're back right after this.
Continuing our coverage out of Baltimore tonight, here is a live look at the North and Pennsylvania intersection, a place where just last night we saw the total destruction of a CVS drugstore. Today, the crowds are back with even more police presence, but the violence has not materialized again. Thankfully, it is a quiet, peaceful protest in all of Baltimore tonight that we know of. We're going to continue our coverage on WUSA9 News at 11 o'clock. That's all for our news at 7.
Make it a great night, everybody.
Bye-bye.